Hi, boys and girls. So this week we've been going over lesson 21, which is adding and subtracting mixed numbers. And right now I'm going to do a little review for your lesson 21 comprehension check. Okay, so just a quick overview. This unit has had to do with mixed numbers, which are when we have wholes and parts. And we've also talked about improper fractions. So that's going to be when your numerator is greater than your denominator. Okay, we talked about some different ways to approach these problems. And we're going to look at a few problems that are very similar to the ones that you would see on your comprehension check today. So pay close attention. You may choose to either just listen and watch carefully, or you can take notes. It's up to you. So this first problem, sorry, I got ahead of myself, but I'm just going to read it to you first. So it says, Emma has 2 1/6 pounds of clay. She uses 1 5/6 pounds of clay for an art project. Which model shows the number of pounds of clay Emma uses for her art project shaded and shows the number of pounds she has left over unshaded? Okay, so first of all, I need to think about how I'm going to approach this problem. It's asking me how much is left over. When I hear that term, I know I need to subtract. So I already wrote down, this is what she's starting with, 2 1/6, and she uses 1 5/6. So this is what our equation would look like. Now, I want to just know what the difference is going to be first before I start looking at these models so I can make sure I'm really sure of my answer. But I can't take 5/6 away from 1/6. So I'm going to make these into improper fractions. How I do that is I multiply my denominator times my whole number, then I add my numerator. So 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 1 is 13. My denominator stays 6. Minus 6 times 1 is 6, plus 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 over 6. Okay, now I'm ready to subtract. 13 minus 11 is 2. My denominator remains 6. Okay, so that means the difference is 2/6. It says what she has left over should be unshaded. So this should be white. What we need to start with is something that has 2 1/6. Okay? All of these models do have 2 wholes with 1/6, right? So I need to now look, what has 2/6 unshaded? Not this one, that's 7. This one has 7 too. This one has 2 unshaded. Okay, so I should make sure that and double check how many are shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and that makes sense because that's what I took away, right? So that would be the answer for this one. Next, you're going to see the problem they love to throw in with all these drop downs. So it's about Logan. He practices the piano for 1 3/5 hours on Saturday and 2 3/5 hours on Sunday. Logan says the total time he practices the piano on Saturday and Sunday is between 3 and 4 hours. Is he correct? Okay, so what are we looking for here? The total of hours that he played piano. So just for my own sake, I'm just going to write down my addition problem for that. So I have 1 3/5 plus 2 3/5. Now, this says the fraction 1 3/5 can be written as, this is going to be an improper fraction, but it says it in word form, okay? So we need to figure out the improper fraction of both of these. So here's what we do. 5 times 1 is 5. Add the 3 is 8. 8 over 5 plus 5 times 2 is 10. Add the 3. 10 plus 3 is 13 over 5. Okay, let's solve it while we're at it. So our denominators are the same, so we can add our numerators. 8 plus 13. So I'm going to start with my larger number and count on 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So that's going to give me 21 fifths, okay? So when we go to fill this in, we would say the fraction 1 3/5 can be written as 8 fifths. So it's going to look like this. 8 fifths. The fraction 2 3/5 can be written as 13 fifths. That's what it would say. The sum of these fractions is 21 fifths. Okay, that's what it would say. Now this says the total time Logan practices the piano on Saturday and Sunday is between, so we need to think of if it's between 3 and 4 hours. So our problem is we have an improper fraction here, so we don't really know how many wholes are in that. We need to simplify, okay? So to simplify, we ask ourselves, how many times can 5 go into 21? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Oop, that's too much. It can go in 4 times. So this equals big 4. And 5 times 4 is 20. So when I take that away from my numerator to see what's remaining, 21 minus 20 is 1. And my denominator is 5. So that means he played piano for 4 1/5 hour. That's more than 4 hours, right? Because he did 4 and then a little more. So he was wrong. He didn't work between 3 and 4 hours. He worked between 4 and 5 hours. Okay? That's that. Next. Decide if each equation is true or false. So, never guess, please. Always double check and make sure. So we're going to go through each one. We have 1 3/6 plus 4 2/6. So let's solve that. We can add our whole numbers here. 1 plus 4 is 5, so they did get that. And then we can add our numerators. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 6. 5 and 5 6? Yes, that's true. Okay, 3 3/4 minus 1 1/4. Here, we're lucky because we don't have to make improper fractions because you can take 1/4 away from 3/4, right? So first we subtract the whole numbers. 3 minus 1 is 2. Then we subtract the numerators and the fractions. 3 minus 1 is 2. And my denominator is 4. Correct again. Okay, for my next one, I have 4 3/5 plus 2 1/5. So I'm adding, okay? I'm going to first add my whole numbers. 4 plus 2, that's going to give me 6. So that part's correct. Now I'm going to add my fractions. 3/5 plus 1/5. So 3 plus 1 is 4. That one says 2, so that's false. 2 more. 5 6/8 minus 2 1/8. I'm lucky again because I don't need to make improper fractions because I can take 1/8 away from 6/8, right? So I have 5 minus 2 is my whole numbers. 5 minus 2 is 3, so they got that right. And then I'm going to subtract my numerators. 6 minus 1 is 5. They have 7. That's false. Okay, 6 5/10 plus 2 2/10. So I'm going to add my whole numbers. 6 plus 2 is 8. I got that. Add my numerators. 5 plus 2 is 7. My denominator is 10. So that one's going to be true. Okay? These ones you just got to go through each example, guys. Next one. This one's about decomposing fractions, which we know means breaking them down. Okay? So it says Tommy's puppy weighs 7 2/5 pounds. Fill in the boxes to show a correct way to write 7 2/5 as a sum. Sum is the answer to an addition problem. Okay? So it's breaking down both the whole number and the fraction. So it has blank plus 3. I know that needs to add up to my whole number 7. So 3 plus what is 7? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 4 plus 3 is 7, right? And then I have 1/5 plus what is 2/5. So if I have a numerator of 1, what do I add to 1 to get 2? 1, 2. That would be a 1. Double check and make sure. 4 plus 3 is 7. 1 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 is 2/5. Perfect. Last example. Susie. She has a piece of a board that is 56 and 6/12 inches in length. She cuts 2 pieces of wood from that board. One of the pieces of wood is 22 and 7/12 inches in length. The other is 19 and 4/12 inches in length. What is the length of the board that's left over? So this is a 2-step problem, okay? First, I need to add the total that she already cut, and then I have to take it away from the whole total, right? So it helps me to break it down. It says 22 and 7/12 plus 19 and 4/12 is going to break down to this. 22 plus 19, those are my whole numbers, and then I need to add my fractions. My fractions are 7/12 and 4/12. So I should come down here and see if I can find 7/12 plus 4/12 right here. You would drag that here. Now I need to see what that equals. So I'm going to add my whole numbers, 22 plus 19. So if I think of 19 as if it's 20, I know 22 plus 20 would be 42. And then I'm going to subtract 1, so it would be 41. So my whole number should be 41. And my fractions, when I add my numerator, 7 plus 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's going to give me 11/12. Do I have 41 11/12? Sure do. Now there's still one more step. I need to subtract this from my original amount. So I have 56 and 6/12. I'm subtracting this from it, okay? So I would drag that in there again. 41 and 11/12. Now I have to subtract and figure out what that total is going to be. So my problem is that I can't subtract 11/12 away from 6/12, okay? So I'm going to use a little trick here, and this is really close to 42, right? It's almost 42. So I'm going to pretend that it's 56 minus 42 and do a little side work. 6 minus 2 is 4, 5 minus 4 is 1. Okay, so it's going to be about 14, and I see that's an option here, but I also have a few more. So, what else could I do without making this too complicated? The other thing I could do is if I really think it's this one, I can do this plus the answer that I think to see if it equals 56 and 6/12. So I'm going to test it out. I'm going to do 41 and 11/12 plus 14 and 7/12. Okay, because making improper fractions of this, guys, is going to be way too crazy. So now here, I can add these up. So 4 plus 1 is 5, and 1 plus 4 is 5, so it's going to be 55, and then I'm going to add my fractions. 11 plus 7 is 18 over 12. But this is an improper fraction, right? So I'm going to break this apart into 55 plus 18 over 12, and I'm going to simplify that. So 12 can go into 18 one time, so it's a big 1. And then 12 times 1 is 12. So when I do 18 minus 12, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, that's going to leave me with 6/12. Now I need to add together my wholes. So I have 55 plus 1 is 56. and my fraction is 6/12. So this is the same as this, which means that 14 7/12 would go there. Okay? For some of these, you're going to need to do a little bit of guess and check and doing some math reasoning, okay, to see what makes sense. All right, guys, go ahead and take your comprehension check. Best of luck.